Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about the power behind the silence, General Shadrack Sibiya and the Senzo Meyiwa trial. In the Senzo Meyiwa trial, the public has been taught to focus on the accused, but we refuse. We refuse. Oh, we refuse. We focus everywhere. We are like, you said last week, but yesterday you said. We question even the pencil that drops down. We question everything. We were taught to focus on the accused, 5 men, 5 docket faces, 5 lives on the line, but serious trials are not decided only by who sits in the dock. They are decided by whoever, or they are decided by who never enters the witness box. They are decided by that. And one name keeps returning, not as an accused, not as a witness, but as a shadow there behind the scenes. General Shadrack Sibiya. Whether he likes it or not, he will remain on the shadows of the Senzo Meyiwa case. That is one name that refuses to disappear. General Shadrack Sibiya is a senior SAPS official. He is experienced. He understands procedure, and crucially, he understands power. Yet, despite never testifying, never being charged, never being formally accused in court, his name surfaces again and again in connection with this investigation of Senzo Meyiwa murder. Why? Because the case is not only about what evidence existed, but how that evidence was shaped. And shaping evidence does not require forgery or bribery. Sometimes it requires only access, authority, and silence. That is what it requires. So the 2019 meeting, let's talk about that. Court has heard that in 2019, General Shadrack Sibiya met with the state witness Constable Zungu. And according to testimony, not alone, you know the evidence. It was Constable Zungu, Warrant Officer Makubo, General Lishebane, yes. And according to the testimony placed before the court, suspects in the Senzo Meyiwa murder were discussed during that meeting, which was suspect number 1. Let's be absolutely clear. Suspect number 1 and 5, yes. Let's be absolutely clear. General Sibiya denies wrongdoing. No court has found that this meeting was unlawful, of which it wasn't. No disciplinary finding has been made about that. But here is the legal problem. Not the emotional one, not the political one, the procedural one. Why would a senior police general discuss suspects with a witness in an active murder investigation? Okay, let's do this. Yes, that question alone is enough to unsettle any criminal court. But now, what you can get from that is that if General Sibiya, Warrant Officer Makubo, General Lishebane were there and they discuss accused number 5 and accused number 1 in the presence of who's this man? Zungu the liar, Constable Zungu, and they dismissed this information that he brought. Why do we have Constable Zungu again and putting him in a pedestal and accepting things that he is saying? Why are we doing that? And why witness conduct is toxic? Okay, criminal trials live or die on credibility. A witness does not need to be bribed to become unreliable. They only need to be influenced. A raised eyebrow, a leading comment, a suggestion of who the real suspects are. Once that happens, memory becomes narrative. Narrative becomes testimony, and testimony becomes evidence. That is why South African criminal law treats unsupervised contact with witnesses as radioactive, not because it always proves corruption, but because it destroys trust. And the courts cannot convict on evidence they do not trust. Now, when it comes to Zungu the liar, if he was there present with these generals, General Sibiya and General Shabane, Warrant Office Makubo, who are supposedly seasoned police officers, and they dismissed him with his allegations against number 5 and number 1, why do we have Constable Zungu back in court talking about adding other people on top of it all? Why do we have that? And now the bodyguard allegations. The defense did not stop at the meeting. They went further, alleging links between General Sibiya, close protection officer, and aspects of the Meyiwa investigation. Okay, let's pause here. These are allegations, not findings, right? They are not proven yet in any court of law. They may never be proven. But here is the uncomfortable truth about criminal trials. Allegations do not need to be true to be powerful. They only need to be plausible enough to create doubt. And once reasonable doubt exists, the state's case begins to fracture. Now, take what I'm saying right now with the presence of Constable Zungu, with General Sibiya, General Lishebane, Warrant Officer Makubo, and them dismissing him after having a discussion and dismissing I choose number 1 in the situation. Dismissing the I choose number 5 name also in the situation. Take that and put Zungu in the test when it comes to all of that. When a commissioner accuses a commissioner, let's talk about that. Then came a moment that changed everything. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi publicly accused General Sibiya of meddling in investigations. This was not whispered in court corridors. This was not a defense submission. This was a serving SAPS commissioner speaking openly, live on television, in a media briefing. That matters because when accusations come from inside the institution, the defense no longer looks like it is attacking the state. The state begins to look like it is attacking itself. So when General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi accused Sibiya of certain accusations there, we started looking at Sibiya in sideways. Now, let's talk about the Phahlane era. Question is that former acting national commissioner Khumbudzo Phahlane described a period within SAPS as compromised. That word is doing heavy legal lifting. Compromise does not mean messy. It does not mean incompetent. It means systems could not be trusted. So here is the question no one has answered under oath. If General Sibiya was active during a period described as compromised, what role did he play in the Senzo Meyiwa case, if any, in steering investigations pertaining the Senzo Meyiwa case? Not hypothetically, not emotionally, operationally, what role did he play when it comes to Senzo Meyiwa case? Because his name keeps coming up. And I suppose that is why defense lawyer Mngomezulu wanted his testimony. She demanded that he be called and come and give testimony, give his own testimony. This is why defense is relentless. They do not want headlines, they want answers. Because once General Sibiya steps into the witness box, meetings become examinable. Authority becomes measurable. Silence becomes impossible. And courts do not fear testimony. They fear unexplained power. This is something that General Sibiya has. What the law actually says, let's ground this, okay? No court has ruled that General Shadrack Sibiya interfered with the Meyiwa investigation. No conviction exists when it comes to that. No finding of guilty has been made when it comes to that. But criminal law does not wait for guilty to assess risk. It asks one question only: can a reasonable court trust the evidence? And when the witnesses, investigators, and senior officials collide in unexplained ways, trust becomes fragile. That is why we are where we are with the Senzo Meyiwa case. The Senzo Meyiwa trial is not collapsing because of conspiracy theories. It is buckling under the weight of unanswered questions. And the most dangerous question in any trial are not the loud ones. They are the ones no one is prepared to answer under oath. Truth does not fear the witness box. Silence does. Justice does not collapse from one noise. It collapses from silence. And the people that are silent when it comes to the Senzo Meyiwa case are the ones that are collapsing justice for Senzo Meyiwa. What are your thoughts when it comes to all of this? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye-bye.